Welcome to the Explainer. So right now we're looking at a massive structural shift in the tech landscape as of May 2026. If you've been paying any attention to the job market lately, you've probably noticed some pretty strange rumblings, like this quiet reshuffling happening at the very top of the engineering food chain. Well, today we are going to unpack exactly what's happening, why a brand new class of engineers is suddenly taking over, and, most importantly, how you can position yourself to take full advantage of it. So, I want to start by throwing a question your way. What is the single most valuable individual contributor role in software in 2026? I want you to really think about it for a second. When we look at the current landscape, the absolute explosion of AI, those massive valuations, where is the absolute peak of the compensation mountain? Now, I can almost guarantee your first guess is wrong. It's actually not a senior staff engineer at a FAANG company. And surprisingly enough, it's not a frontier lab research scientist training the next generation of massive language models either. I mean, those are incredibly lucrative paths for sure, but they aren't the answer to this mystery. The actual answer is a role commanding total compensation packages that regularly clear $700,000 at the top end. Yeah, you heard that right. $700,000 for an individual contributor. This is a job title that barely even existed as a standalone category just 5 years ago, and today it is literally dominating the market. Okay, let's just dive right into it. The role is the Forward Deployed Engineer, or FDE. Basically, an FDE is an embedded software engineer who walks right into a customer's environment, navigates their incredibly messy, accumulated tech stack, which, let's be real, is usually held together by duct tape and prayers, and ships production AI that actually works. They don't build the foundation model. They do the brutal, bespoke work of making that model function inside a specific Fortune 500 company's chaotic reality.
Section 1. The new highest paid role. Let's look at the hard data backing up this newly dominant career category. Just notice the sheer scale of the demand here. Anthropic's federal civilian FDE role is listing a base salary, and that is just the base, mind you, of $280K to $320K. Palantir, the company that effectively invented this whole function years ago, is paying its staff-level FDEs north of $630,000 in total compensation. But honestly, the most vital metric we're seeing is an 800% year-over-year spike in job listings across the entire industry. OpenAI, Cohere, Databricks, Scale AI, they are all desperately hunting for this exact talent. But why?
Section 2, the AI integration wall. Well, they're hunting for them because the industry has slammed face first into the integration wall. Perfect AI models are failing spectacularly out in the real world, and here's exactly why. When you take a cutting-edge AI agent and try to deploy it at a massive enterprise, you don't get a pristine sandbox. You get a total mess. You get a legacy SQL database that's been migrated 3 times in the last 10 years. You get half-documented security protocols. You run into data residency requirements buried deep in some lost procurement contract. You face a terrified CIO who just keeps pushing back the production launch. Actually, scratch that. Getting a demo working is maybe 20% of the job. The other 80% is navigating this sheer volume of bureaucratic and technical chaos. No amount of clever prompt engineering is going to fix a broken Active Directory setup, you know? You need a human on site who can actually write code and untangle the knot. Section 3. Shippers versus consultants. Now, a logical question here is, wait, isn't this what high-end consultants are for? Why can't a business just hire a massive consulting firm to fix this? Let's compare these two concepts, because it's a false equivalence. You have the traditional giants, McKinsey, BCG, Bain. They sell process. Their ultimate deliverable is essentially a beautiful 80-page slide deck, and crucially, their engagement letters specifically avoid taking liability for production systems. They do not ship code. But then you look at the FDE. Their entire existence is built on shipping code, running agents in live production, and entirely owning the outcome. If the AI breaks the client system, the FDE is completely on the hook. High-margin consultancies structurally cannot survive the integration wall because they just aren't built to take on production liability. And the market absolutely knows this. Look at this massive real-world signal. Blackstone and Anthropic recently poured $1.5 billion into an FDE joint venture. Notice, they did not put that money into a traditional consulting partnership. Private equity is betting billions of dollars on people who can ship production code over people who write strategic memos. They need AI running smoothly inside thousands of portfolio companies, and only FDEs can actually deliver that reality. Section 4. Inverting the career math.
So, if the role is this incredibly valuable, why doesn't every senior software engineer just switch over and become an FDE tomorrow? And this brilliantly illustrates the math of the job itself. If we audit a knowledge worker's time, we can categorize it into buckets like theater, commodity, and durable work. For a typical senior individual contributor, their durable work, meaning those highly contextual, relationship-based decisions that compound over time, that makes up roughly 17.5% of their day. The FDE role completely inverts this. A staggering 60 to 70% of an FDE's time is spent purely on durable work. You are making customer-specific judgment calls under extreme ambiguity. You aren't just coding, you're acting as a diplomat, a product manager, and a security auditor all at once. Because that specific mix of skills is so incredibly rare, companies are actively draining 3 very specific talent pools to fill these scarce roles. First, they're looking for former technical founders, because founders already know how to operate in pure chaos. Second, they're poaching from existing FDE shops like Palantir, Scale, and Databricks. And third, they are looking at senior engineers who happen to have consulting backgrounds, people who already have the muscle for customer-facing diplomacy, but importantly can still actually ship code. Let's look at how this builds your career trajectory. If you can actually do this job, the exit paths compound incredibly fast. After just a 12-month embed at a major client, say a massive bank, an FTE has 3 amazing options. Step 1, you stay at the AI lab and become the leader for that entire industry vertical. Step 2, you leave the lab and join that exact bank as a highly paid internal senior engineer. Or Step 3, you found your own vertical-specific AI startup, with that bank already lined up as your very first design partner. Standard engineers writing internal platform code simply do not get these kinds of exit opportunities. Section 5. Why this premium persists. Now, I know what the skeptics out there are thinking. Is this just a 2026 bubble? Will this massive compensation premium cool down once the AI models get even smarter? The answer is a definitive no, and here are the 3 structural realities guaranteeing this role's scarcity. First off, the integration wall stays the exact same height regardless of how capable the AI model is. A smarter LLM does not magically update a client's 12-year-old SQL warehouse. Second, AI labs cannot scale the HR overhead internally. They can only hire so many embedded engineers before they need external partners, which just drives up competition for the talent pool. Third, and honestly most importantly, CIOs require human accountability. When production data is on the line, a CIO is buying insurance. They want a human with a flawless track record in the room whose reputation is on the line. An LLM simply cannot provide that human accountability. So, what does this all mean? It points to a pretty harsh economic reality. Standardized work is being repriced to near zero. Between highly capable AI models and automated workflows, any engineering task that can be easily templated or standardized is rapidly losing its premium value in the market. If your job is entirely predictable, well, your compensation is going to reflect that compression. Which brings us to what you should absolutely take away from this right now, this very quarter. If you're an individual contributor, you need to restock your skills toward durability. Consider the FDE path if you can handle the ambiguity. If you're an engineering leader, you need to realize that if you don't have an FDE function, a competing AI lab is currently sitting in your customer's office capturing all that value. CFOs, you need to look past that $700K salary and model the $5 to $25 million in customer expansion that a single FDE unlocks. And CHROs, your traditional university to FANG hiring pipeline just won't work here. You absolutely have to build new channels to find this specific talent. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought from our source material. The work that cannot be standardized is the work that pays. The FDE is what that work looks like in 2026. It's wild, but the entire shape of value capture in software has shifted from just building a product that scales to deploying a system that perfectly fits one specific customer. So the question is, are you ready to climb the integration wall? Think about where your own skills lie, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.